Hello everyone, today I am going to discuss about the variable and constants in C, part 1. Variable. Now what is the algebraic definition of variables and constant? Variables are values that can be changed while we use them in program, whereas constant they have fixed values. Now where are the variables and constants stored? Variable and constants are stored in the program memory. There are two types of memories which are present in our microcontroller or microprocessor. Suppose you want to program your microprocessor or microcontroller using embedded C, then you remember there are two types of memory in a microprocessor or controller. One is a program memory and other is a data memory. Program memory is used to store the code or computation or source code, whereas in data memory we are storing the variables, the data upon which we have to do computation. But here variables and constants are stored in a program memory. Okay. Now, how do we declare a variable? Now before declaring a variable, it is very important that we mention its type and size. Okay. Now, example of declaration of variable, suppose int a. Now, int is a type of a variable, and a is a name of a variable in which we want to store our integer. Now I have given int a. It indicates that I want to store integers in variable a. So it is important that before declaration of variable we give it size and type. Okay. Now variable scope. What is variable scope? Variable scope is nothing but the accessibility of a variable within the program. How can we access the variable in the program? Which functions can use it, which functions cannot use it, and how it is accessed? Now there are two types of scope, local scope and global scope. Local scope means it can be used only in function in which it is declared. We will see that in local variables. Local variables, memory space allocated by function. Now remember, we declare functions in our C program, right? And whatever the memory space is allocated by function, that memory space is for the local variables. Okay. Now here the memory space is in the stack or a compiler created heap space. Now scope limited to functions in which they are declared. Suppose there is a C program and there are 4 functions. In a particular function, if I declare the local variable, you can access the local variable will be accessed only within that function. Okay, other functions cannot access them. Global variables. Now global variables can be accessed by all the functions. Now there are many functions in one particular C program if it is complicated, and if we declare a global variable, it can be accessed by all the functions. And scope, because it can be accessed by all the functions, it is having unlimited scope. And this global variable is cleared or set to 0 when main is started. Okay, when at the start of main, after the start of main, this global variable is set to 0 or cleared. Okay. And how it is cleared? There is one startup code which is generated by compiler. Okay. And that startup code sets the global variable to 0, and that startup code is invisible to programmer. That is, we are programming, and if we declare a global variable, it will be set to 0 after the main. Now local and global variable. Okay, if they are having a same value, then global variables remain untouched. Okay, means if the value of local variable and global variable is the same, global variable will remain untouched. Means what? Only the local variable will be accessed within the function, and modification will done only to the local variable, but global variable will not be touched. Now what are the types of variables? Bit, char, unsigned char, signed char, int, short int, unsigned int, signed int, and many more types and variations are available. Now bit is having a size of 2 and a range of bit is from 0 to 1, whereas char is having a size of 8 and the range is from minus 128 to 127. Now what is the difference between the unsigned int and signed int? See, the unsigned int, we have only the positive values, okay, of integers, whereas in the signed int we have negative as well as the positive value of integers. That is the difference between the unsigned int and signed int. And here we can see that char is having a size of 8, whereas int is having a size of 16. Okay, so the size of integer type is greater. Okay, so range is also greater. Okay, so with this we end our discussion on variable and constants in C, part 1. Thank you.